there seems to be always creepy things with clowns. Have you noticed that? When I was a little kid, I had a birthday party and my parents actually hired a clown to come to our house and invited all my friends and everything. I have pictures of it and everything. It's pretty weird. Cuckoo the clown. My parents were there the whole time though. Nothing weird happened. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude. Where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels, occasionally I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude. Before we get started today, if you'd like to support the channel, check out my Teespring store in the description. I have t-shirts, hoodies, coffee cups, tote bags, all kinds of fun stuff. It's not required, but it's appreciated. Today we're going to check one out from Most Amazing Top 10. This is Top 10 Disturbing Documentaries that got banned. How many of you like watching documentaries? I enjoy some. I'm more just a regular movie type guy, but I do like to watch some documentaries, so let's check this out.
Hi, it's me, Jesse. We there? Yeah, okay, good, we're there. Well, this afternoon,
I've
after
heard
a
of
very
this one.
lousy sketch about yo-yoing, I figure we'll, for lack of anything better to do, we'll take it towards a more serious side right about now.
Who here loves to watch a good documentary? We certainly do. But some documentaries touch on some really dark topics, and as a result, they have gotten banned.
From a documentary that contains horrific images of people dying, to a documentary that details one of the most deadly and popular tourist destinations in America. On today's top 10 list, we will be covering 10 disturbing documentaries that got banned. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have The Royal Family. The Royal Family has certainly had their fair share of drama this year so far.
I can see why this would get banned though. They don't want to be anything controversial at all.
But that is not necessarily news to most people. Over the course of 18 months, from 1968 to 1969, Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip allowed film crews to come in and follow their daily lives to create some sort of royal family documentary. Of course, the content of this documentary was heavily monitored by the royal family and those who deal with their public image, so the documentary itself didn't contain anything extremely dark or surprising. This documentary aired on BBC One in June of 1969, but ended up being banned by the Queen in 1972. The reason was apparently because they believed the film was in danger of killing off the monarchy, whatever that means. They explained that they felt like if they did things like this too often, that it would cheapen them by letting the magic seep out, and that people would just want to know more and more and more. I can see this point of view, but I also feel like there might be something a little more sinister going on here, especially considering everything that we do know. At the end of the day, this...
I think so too. I think it would just make them look bad, so no, we're not going to show that.
The documentary is now actually on YouTube if you would like to and choose to go and view it.
In our 9th spot, we have The Men Who Killed Kennedy. And guys, here's your little friendly reminder to hit that thumbs up button.
There are so many
This is a
ideas
video documentary
about
series that discusses the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was created by British television network ITV. All 9 episodes of this documentary originally aired on the Discovery Channel. Now, any documentary dealing with death and assassinations are going to be dark. This wasn't a lighthearted docuseries, but not the entire series was banned, just the last 3 episodes that aired in 2003. Those 3 episodes were eventually pulled and are banned from ever airing again. This is due to the fact that they were way too controversial. In the final episode, it suggested that Lyndon D. Johnson, the US Vice President at the time of the assassination, had something to do with his death. In the end, it was declared that the documentary was not credible and the documentary should have never aired. And they promised that they would not show those episodes again. So in this sense, it wasn't banned because it was too graphic, but because it was too controversial.
In our number 8 spot today,
I've heard that he had something to do with it, and I've heard the mob had something to do with it too. I don't know.
Today we have the Yes Men Fix the World. The Yes Men are a pair of activists who have a goal to raise awareness about different social and political issues. The way they go about this, however, has been highly controversial as they create films in which they impersonate people they dislike in an act that they call identity correction. In 2009, their second documentary titled The Yes Men Fix the World came out, which was the sequel to the 2003 film entitled The Yes Men. In this HBO documentary, the pair stir up controversy surrounding a few different issues, such as exposing the people who were profiting off of Hurricane Katrina, or the people who were behind the environmental disaster in Bhopal. It's not necessarily the things that they are fighting against that make people believe they're controversial, but more so the mission statement that the two share, which is that lies can expose the truth. The film, of course, has still managed to survive on past this lawsuit though, and despite being banned from release, there was a special edition of the movie that was released through good old BitTorrent.
In our 7th spot, we have Capturing the Friedmans.
That's not really one that I'd be interested in watching. It's Capturing the Friedmans I've heard of. I haven't seen it and I really don't know anything about it.
This HBO documentary filmed by Andrew Jarecki was released in 2003. Initially, it was meant to be a short film about children's birthday party entertainers in New York. It was titled Just a Clown. But while filming, he made a shocking discovery that completely made him shift gears. So while filming a man named David Friedman, who was a very popular clown, he learned that David's brother Jesse and his father Arnold were guilty of some very bad things to young individuals. It started back in 1987 when the US Postal Service intercepted a magazine of explicit images of young people. It was making its way over to the Friedmans' house.
Wow.
That's when police investigated Jesse and Arnold. The two were then given a stay-at-home order while preparing for court, and they decided to document what was going on. So they had a number of tapes that captured family dinners, private conversations, and arguments, etc. The documentary shows these home videos and follows the two Friedman men. Due to the film's content, though, this documentary was banned in a couple of countries.
In our number 6
I remember there seems to be always creepy things with clowns. Have you noticed that? When I was a little kid, I had a birthday party and my parents actually hired a clown to come to our house and invited all my friends and everything. I have pictures of it and everything. It's pretty weird. Cuckoo the Clown.
spot today we have Earthlings. Earthlings was a film made in 2005 and was a documentary that focused.
My parents were there the whole time though. Nothing weird happened.
On the way that humanity uses animals. It was definitely meant to shed a negative light on the day-to-day practices of some of the largest industries in the world that all heavily rely on animals. The footage for the film was largely captured using hidden cameras. This documentary first became controversial not because of the conversation it sparks, but because of how gruesome some of the footage was, particularly
gruesome.
the footage from puppy mills. I honestly wouldn't even recommend viewing this footage and would much prefer a different way of educating on the horrors of these things because it really is just terrible. People were also upset because they thought that the film's director was just trying to push a vegan lifestyle on others by using scare tactics, but I'm not quite sure that this was the goal of the film at all. The film saw more controversy just last year when a Ukrainian man named Maxim Kryvosh held a bus with 13 passengers hostage and demanded, along with other things, that the president of Ukraine make a statement saying that watching the film Earthlings was recommended viewing for everyone. The president did end up releasing this statement, and thankfully all of the hostages were released without any incident, and the president's recommendation was then deleted. After this, Earthlings director did also make a statement regarding the situation, explaining that it does not endorse or condone acts of terror, and that its message is one of compassion for all beings.
We're now at our fifth.
I used to work at a meat packing plant, and it wasn't only they didn't only package the meat, they also had a slaughterhouse there. Most of my time there, I worked in a place called the box cooler though, where we loaded the trucks after the meat was already packaged and boxed up and everything. But I did work for 3 weeks on what they called the kill floor. Only made it 3 weeks, couldn't do it. They had me doing a job. Basically, they have a blood pit where the cattle come in hanging upside down, and they stick it right in the throat and go all the way up, and then they hook it to a machine that peels the hide off of it and everything. And I would have to go around and squeegee all the blood down into the pit. I slipped and fell in it one day and got a blood rash. Ended up having to go shower and change clothes and everything right there at work. It was horrible. I called in sick 8 days out of that 3 weeks that I worked there, and they would not fire me, so I just ended up quitting. It's the worst job. Terrible. I'd go home from work and have nightmares.
Fifth and halfway mark with The Act of Killing. This is a 2012 documentary.
I've heard of this
about
one.
people who
this
committed
bad.
a bunch of murders in 1965 to 1966 as part of the Indonesian genocide. However, the film mainly centers around one of the murderers, Anwar Congo. It is said that he took the lives of 1,000 people. What made this documentary so controversial and disturbing is the fact that the film had Anwar Congo recreate some of his murders. People said in a way it was romanticizing death and violence.
It's sick.
I mean, this dude talked in detail about the murders, like saying his preferred method of killing was to use a wire and then strangle his victims. To him, this was a neater way to kill. In the end, the Indonesian government did not like this film, saying it showcased a misleading portrayal of Indonesia.
He's a psychopath.
And at number 4 spot today we have The Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is a hugely popular tourist destination, but it is also one of the most popular spots in the whole world where people will go to take their own lives. When the filmmaker Eric Steele heard about this extremely sad statistic, he decided he wanted to make The Bridge, in which he would attempt to figure out why this was the most popular spot, but also he wanted to show people attempting or even succeeding with this action so that he could show that basically nothing is being done to try and prevent this from happening. This documentary quickly became very controversial because there were many people who believed that the film was
I think there's other ways that you could do this without showing someone actually commit suicide. I think that's horrible.
Or even succeeding with this action so that he could show that basically nothing is being done to try and prevent this from happening. This documentary quickly became very controversial because there were many people who believed that the film was glorifying this action, despite that most definitely not being the film's intention. People felt as though the film turned this into entertainment and normalized the action. There was also some drama between Eric and the members of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area Agency, who said that Eric didn't disclose his true intentions when he applied for a filming permit, but in the grand scheme of what this film is about, I think that this is the last thing that anyone should be worried about.
Moving on to number 3.
If depression is a real thing, I mean, I've been depressed before, but I've never gotten that far to where I thought that I would do that because I'm too scared to, actually. But if you're having problems like that, there's somebody you can call. I mean, there's someone you can talk to. Everybody knows somebody. Just talk to someone. It's not hurting you as much as it's hurting your family. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Just a warning, this next one is really disturbing. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Here we have Zoo. Okay. Where do I begin with this one? So basically, this whole documentary surrounds the death of Kenneth Pinyan, a man that passed away in 2005 after engaging in sexual activities with a horse.
Oh,
but that's
my
not the disturbing
hell.
part. The worst part is apparently the documentary tries to justify this man's actions, and it defends him, saying basically, love is love, whether that's love for another human or for an animal. An actual review said, and I quote, "The documentary spent too much effort trying to defend these actions rather than documenting what actually happened. I thought the point of documentary filmmaking was to be objective and neutral on the subject and to present the evidence and let the audience make up their own minds."
That's
so
terrible.
Do I even have to explain why this documentary was banned in certain places? I mean, hello, it's a fairly controversial and disgusting topic.
It sure is. Oh my. Ooh. I can't imagine somebody doing something like that. Well, he's dead now. He won't do it again, that's for sure.
spot today we have Titicut Follies. Different films get banned for
I've heard
a
of this
multitude of reasons, which usually comes down to the topics being controversial
This
or
is
up
old.
for debate, but this specific documentary was banned because of the fact that it was just absolutely horrifying to every audience. This extremely important but upsetting documentary was made in 1964 and explored the life inside the Bridgewater State Hospital for the criminally insane. As you can imagine, life for the people living inside of this hospital was terrible, and this documentary did not hold back on shining the light. It showed the neglect that the inmates faced from their caretakers, as well as even more horrible things that they had to endure. This film was originally banned because some people believed they needed to protect the identity of the people portrayed in the film, which I understand, but that does seem kind of backwards and like it would only be benefiting the people who desperately needed to be exposed.
Yes,
In 1991, however, the ban on this film was lifted and people were able to see the reality that many people at this hospital faced every day.
That would be really, really disturbing. I think the reason they called that the Titicut Follies is because they held like a little talent show or something with all these criminally insane people, and they showed that on film. Really disturbing.
Number one spot, we have Faces of Death.
I saw that
This film
when I
is
was
banned
younger.
in 40 plus countries. That's just how gruesome.
I remember renting the video to that. A whole bunch of different videos. There was a whole series of them. I'm watching that at home on VHS.
It actually is. In 1978, this documentary was released and people were horrified at how graphic it was. The film contained real footage of dead or dying humans and animals.
And some of it was
fake.
fake.
You see a body being sliced open in an autopsy. Another scene shows a man being electrocuted. And in another, you see a monkey get beat to death by a hammer.
Yeah, that was terrible.
They showed all that and more in this film. It's basically like they collected the most disturbing real-life footages from all over the world and compiled them together for this film. As a result of its very graphic content, the movie was banned in 40 plus countries. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. Let us know.
What is it about stuff like that makes people want to see it? It's weird because there's been really weird stuff like that I've been tempted to watch too. I think it's a natural thing, but it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Why would you want to watch that? But then you do. Is it just curiosity, or I don't know. Some crazy stuff. Now it's time for the joke of the day. My ex-girlfriend wasn't so bright. She called me up one day. She said, "Gene, the light bulb in the bathroom burned out. I don't know how to change it." I said, "First, you fill the tub with water." I called her today. There was no answer. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag #MeanGene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends. Leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.